following instructions are how to do a full bust adjustment on the Pattern Emporium Field of Dreams dress. So we have a couple of tools, some rulers, pens, scissors, sticky tape, and your front pattern piece. Now I'm going to follow along with the instructions in the tutorial itself. So if you want to have that beside you, you can. You don't necessarily need it beside you. You can definitely use this on other patterns that have this waist dart if you wanted to. So let's draw in the lines first. So the first one is a straight line from the apex here, and the apex, that's your bust point. So we're going to draw that straight down in line with the center front seam. So straight down like so, and then we want to go right angles from that line straight across to the side seam, and again right through the apex. Then line number 3 is from the apex up to about 2/3 along the armhole line, and then another line straight across, again at right angles to center front, down the bottom here on the bottom section of the pattern. Honestly, it doesn't really matter where that is. And then last of all, we're going to draw in our seam allowance just up here. So 1 centimetre or 3/8 of an inch right there. Okay, now here and here, we're going to be making hinges. So it's a good idea to pop a little bit of tape on those, on those points. Okay, grab your scissors and we're going to cut all the way up to the apex, through the apex, and we're going to cut up to this line right here, up to our stitch line. Don't cut through it, just up to it. And then on the other side, at the stitch line, we're going to cut just to the stitch line, but not through. So we create a hinge, and let me show you what I mean by a hinge. That you can turn here, and this armhole measurement, it actually won't change because you have a hinge. And then we're going to cut from the side seam almost to that dot, because we're going to create another hinge there. There we go. And see how it can move, and it can move at all different angles. Okay, I'm going to grab another piece of paper and pop that on top, because we need to stick our pattern down. So I'm going to line that up with center front. So the next step, you want to calculate your adjustment. This is how much you need to add into your pattern to accommodate your bust. So you start with your upper bust size. Then for each size that your bust is above your upper bust size, you'll add 1.25 centimeters or half an inch. So for instance, if your upper bust is a 12 and your bust is a 16, that's a 2 size difference. So you would add 2.5 centimeters. Now we are going to do a 2 size bust adjustment. So along the front, we will draw a line, 2.5 centimeters. Yep, sounds really simple, doesn't it? It is. So parallel with this line, we draw another line, 2.5 centimeters. And then with this piece here, grabbing onto this piece only, don't worry about this. We shift the pattern so that this is lined up exactly on that line. And then we stick that down, and then we stick the rest of the pattern down. Next one is cutting along this line. Widening, as you can see, has lowered the whole thing. So we need to lower it to the same point. So just eyeball it across to there. And stick that down. Next is this dart here. So we are going to add in the legs and add in the right bust point. Measure halfway between this point here and this point here. So 2.5. And then draw a line from the new apex point over to there. Then we're going to drop the bust point back. You can drop it back 3 to 5 centimeters, but it really depends on you. That might take a fit test to decide that. And then draw the legs back in, right up to that point on the pattern, and that one as well, and stick the rest of it down. Right, next we're going to prove this dart. So proving the dart, basically you want to create the legs like you have down here. You want to create that over here. So let's cut the whole thing out. Just stop when you get to there. Let us add the little triangle to the bottom of here. So because you want your dart to be folded downwards when you're wearing a garment, the bust dart should fold downwards unless otherwise advised. We're going to fold over the line that's closest to that fold. So fold along the line and then just manipulate the pattern. You kind of have to push it down at the dart point, back up to that line, like so. Fold it out. Now hold onto the dart, grab your scissors. It can be a bit tricky, and cut along that line, and voila, look at that. You've got your gorgeous triangle, and there is your new pattern.